Hello students, today I am going to elucidate on hearing which is performed primarily by the auditory system. In this video, the role of external and middle ear in the process of hearing will be emphasized. What is sensation and what is perception? Sensation and perception are two different but very close entities. Sensation is the input about the physical world obtained by our sensory receptors. These receptors are present in sensory organs like eye, ear, nose, and tongue. Perception is a process by which the brain selects, organizes, and interprets the sensation. So, sensation occurs in the sensory organs, whereas perception is a process which occurs in the brain. In this picture, we can appreciate a woman seeing a man playing his instrument. Here, two types of receptors are activated or stimulated. One is the receptors in the eye, which absorbs light energy from the environment and convert them into neural signals, and they are transmitted to the brain. Second is the receptors in the ear, which absorbs sound energy from the instrument and again convert them into neural signals and finally sent to the brain. This is called as sensation, which is carried out by the sensory organs. Now the visual cortex organizes and interprets the neural signals received from the respective receptors, and so the woman now is able to visualize a man with his drums and also able to tell about his physical characteristics of the individual and also the instrument. Similarly, the auditory cortex recognizes the neural signals from the ear and interprets as music from the instrument, and the lady is found to enjoy the music over here. This is called as perception, which is carried out by the brain. Now coming to topic proper, ear comprises of three components. One is the external ear, middle ear, and the internal ear. The structures given in orange shade refers to the external ear. This part consists of auricle, otherwise called as pinna, and the external auditory canal. The middle ear structures are depicted in the pink shade. Middle ear is a rectangular air-filled compartment in the temporal bone. It contains tympanic membrane, three bony ossicles, that is malleus, incus, and stapes, and also the eustachian tube. The structures shown in the blue shade denotes the inner ear. This is situated in the petrous part of the temporal bone. It is called as labyrinth due to the presence of complicated series of canals. The stimuli for the receptor of hearing are the sound waves. Sound is a form of energy which originate from a vibrating source in the environment. A sound wave consists of alternating phases of compression and rarefaction of molecules of the media in which it travels. Sound waves without a regular pattern is called as noise. Sound waves travel in air at a speed of about 344 millimeters per second at 20 degrees Celsius at sea level. The speed is more in hot environment and high altitude. They travel with much greater speed, that is nearly 5 times greater than that in air. There are three characteristics of sound. First one is loudness, second one is pitch, and the third one is a timbre. The amplitude determines the loudness or intensity of sound. The greater the amplitude, the louder is the sound. Loudness is always expressed in decibels. The decibel scales for common sounds are given here. Normal conversation takes place at 60 decibels. Loud sounds at 120 decibels causes discomfort to the ears. Beyond 140 decibels, damage to ear occurs, which is manifested as severe ear pain. The frequency of sound waves is expressed as number of waves per second. The subjective sensation produced by the frequency of sound is known as the pitch. The greater the frequency, higher is the pitch. During conversation, the frequency of average female voice is 250 Hz, which is higher than that of the male voice of 120 Hz. The sound frequencies which are audible to the human ear are 20 to 20,000 Hz. A person can differentiate about 2000 pitches, and this ability can be enhanced with adequate training. Pitch discrimination is best between 1000 to 3000 Hz, and the human ear can sense even the minute differences in this range of frequency. Timbre is a quality of sound. A person is able to differentiate two tones of same pitch and intensity. Now, what is the difference between pitch and timbre? Pitch is differentiating between male and female voice, that is differentiating between two frequencies. This is called as pitch, whereas timbre is the frequencies are same, that is we can recognize two singers of same gender, that is having same pitch without seeing them. This is called as timbre. Now the sound waves has to be conducted from the environment to the inner ear. Now we'll see what is the role of this external and middle ear in this process of conduction. External ear comprises of pinna and external auditory canal. As far as pinna is concerned, it collects and reflects the sound waves into the external auditory canal. Its peculiar shape in humans helps in establishing the source of sound. External auditory canal conducts the sound waves to the middle ear through the tympanic membrane. It has got S-shaped anatomical course which is advantageous in amplifying the sound waves as well as preventing the mechanical injury to the tympanic membrane. It also helps in maintaining favorable temperature and humidity for the normal functioning of the tympanic membrane. Coming to the applied aspect of external auditory canal, that is impaction of wax, which can cause blockage of sound wave conduction from the environment to the middle ear, and this can cause conductive deafness. What is cerumen? Cerumen is a mixture of secretory products of sebaceous and ceruminous glands. It is brown in color. Sometimes the cerumen accumulates and hardens in the outer part of the external auditory canal. The treatment is the removal of wax either by syringing or by wax hook. What is the role of middle ear in the hearing process? The sound waves strike the tympanic membrane after passing through pinna and external auditory canal. The presence of air at atmospheric pressure on both sides of the tympanic membrane. That is, the external auditory canal contains air and the middle ear also contains the same media. And this makes the tympanic membrane to vibrate. The eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the pharynx and does a function of equalization of air pressure on both sides of the tympanic membrane. Now the vibrating tympanic membrane causes the ear ossicles also to vibrate. So the tympanic membrane acts as a pressure receiver, that is, it is extremely sensitive to the pressure changes produced by the sound waves. Second one, it acts as a resonator, that is, it starts vibrating with the pressure changes, and finally it critically dampens, that is, the vibrations stop as soon as the sound stops. There are numerous mechanisms put forth which play an important role during the mechanical conduction of sound waves from the middle ear to the internal ear. The four mechanisms are impedance matching mechanism, the phase differential between oval and round window, the third one is the natural resonance of external and middle ear, and finally the attenuation reflex. The first mechanism is the impedance matching mechanism, which is effectively done by the middle ear. We'll see what it is. External ear is filled with air, and again the middle ear is also filled with air, but the internal ear is filled with fluid. The bony labyrinth contains a fluid called perilymph, whereas a membranous labyrinth is filled with potassium-rich endolymph. Now the sound waves should travel from air-filled middle ear to the fluid-containing inner ear. So the traveling media for the sound is different in these two compartments of the ear. When sound travels from air to fluid medium, it gets reflected as a result of different mechanical properties of two media. This is called as impedance mismatching. So 99% of the sound energy is reflected from the surface of water because of the impedance offered by the fluid media. So reflection of sound waves occur when the sound travels from air to fluid media. This fact can be appreciated by a simple observation. Suppose if two persons standing on land talking with each other, they hear better and converse better. Is it not? And again, once the same person standing on land, the other one is underwater, say a swimming pool, the person underwater will not be able to hear properly because most of the sound waves are reflected by water. This is called as impedance mismatch. To counteract impedance mismatch and to facilitate the sound waves to enter into the inner ear, the middle ear functions as an impedance matching device primarily by amplifying the sound pressure. Amplification of sound pressure or impedance matching is accomplished by the following three mechanisms: the hydraulic action of the tympanic membrane, lever action of the ossicles, and finally the curved membrane buckling effect. What is hydraulic action of the tympanic membrane? The effective vibratory surface area of tympanic membrane is 55 meter square, whereas the oval window surface area is 3.2 meter square. The area difference means a lot over here because the force produced by sound in larger surface area is concentrated over a smaller area, which amplifies the sound pressure exerted on the oval window by 17-fold. See in this picture, the force applied on the larger area has got a lesser pressure, but when the same force is applied on a smaller area, the pressure becomes amplified. A lever is a simple machine made of three parts, um, two arms, and fulcrum. One arm can be the effort or the pressure. The other arm is a load or the mass. When the fulcrum is in the center, the lever is in equilibrium. That is, both input and output force are going to be the same. If the distance between the applied force, that is the applied input force, and the fulcrum is greater than the distance between the fulcrum and the output force, then the lever is going to amplify the input force or the pressure applied. For example, a trolley. When we push down the trolley using the handle is long enough, which is the effort or the input force, the wheels or the fulcrum, and the object being moved is a load or the output force, where the effort is amplified by carrying the load. This is called as the lever principle. When the lever principle is applied to the ossicles, the handle of malleus is 1.3 times longer than the long process of incus, which is going to provide the leverage effect. So the middle ear enhances the force of movement by 1.3 times because of this mechanism. The movements of tympanic membrane is more at the periphery when compared to the center, where the handle of malleus is attached. Again, this is going to provide some leverage effect, and this is going to cause two-fold amplification of the sound waves. So by all these three mechanisms, the sound pressure level is elevated by 22 times, and the impedance mismatch between the two media in middle and inner ear is eliminated. So when tympanic membrane and ossicles are removed, sound waves directly strike the oval window, then even very loud sounds are heard as whispers because of impedance mismatch. The sound waves reach the oval window first because of the ossicular chain rather than the round window. If it arrives simultaneously on both windows, they would cancel each other's effect. This is established by the presence of intact tympanic membrane. In this picture, you can see the oval window on which the footplate of a stepes is attached. Below the oval window is the round window. Now the sound waves reach the oval window at the earliest than the round window because of the ossicles. The natural resonance of different structures are given here. A frequency of 3000 Hz can easily pass through the external auditory canal, whereas 800 Hz can be easily passed through the middle ear. So, external and middle ear, due to inherent anatomical and physiological properties, they allow certain frequencies to easily pass through the inner ear. Attenuation reflex is otherwise called as tympanic reflex or acoustic reflex. The stimulus for this preventive reflex is loud sound and needs a latent period of 40 to 80 milliseconds to get into action. This reflex actually reduces the sound pressure amplitude by contraction of the middle ear muscles. So the middle ear muscles are the tensor tympani and stapedius. So the contraction of tensor tympani pulls the malleus inwards, and contraction of stapedius pulls the stapes outwards. So these are the two opposite forces which makes the ossicular system rigid and no vibration can occur. Whenever no vibration occurs, the sound waves also cannot enter into the inner ear. So the advantage of this reflex is it prevents damage to the cochlea due to loud sounds like jet aircraft or loud music. But there is an exception to this, that is bomb explosion. So sudden, brief, extremely loud sounds like bomb explosion is an exception to this because it can cause high damage to the cochlea and there is no latent period for the reflex to come into action because of the sudden sounds. So in this video, we dealt with the physiology of hearing, especially the role of external and middle ear in the process of audition. In my next video, I'll elaborate on the role of internal ear and auditory pathway in the hearing process.